Anna Dunn, thank you so much for being on the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael.
Now, tell us, you're the owner of Soulcraft Coffee.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit more about that business.
Yeah, so we have a coffee shop in Cookeville on the historic west side. My husband and I do, we do specialty coffee and house-made pastries and food.
So now, have you always owned this? Have you always been an entrepreneur, or is this something new for you?
The last several years, yes. I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car for several years before that, but kind of came from a family of entrepreneurship and local business. And so we knew this was part of our plan, but sometimes you have to do one thing that maybe you don't love to do something that you do, you know? So really, really honored to be doing what we love, and it's a dream for sure.
So you do what you love, right?
Yeah.
And that's obviously great. Now, sometimes there's a misconception that entrepreneurs are fully formed, they've got all the answers, they've got all the resources going in. Would you say that that's accurate?
Negative. That couldn't be the farthest from the truth. But there's an amount of grit, right? And just resiliency that an entrepreneur just they have to have, because it's hard. You have to be able to pivot and move and try this or that, or just kind of work off the cuff a little bit. And if you're really good at that, then you should be an entrepreneur.
So resiliency is a human trait that you need to have, being an entrepreneur, but there's all these other skills that you've got to learn too. How did you do this?
That's a great question. I think life experiences for one, but I think being in it every day and just kind of this idea that you, if you're not learning something every day, you're kind of going backwards. If you're not going forward, you're going backwards, kind of thing. And just keep moving forward and learning from your mistakes.
Now, do you have a mentor that you look at or ask questions to, or have you just dived into this?
I have many mentors, yes. A lot of them are amazing, amazing women in our community. As far as coffee, Tyler is really, really good at it. And he has taken time to learn. And
so Tyler is your husband, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we were talking before the show and you said, ultimate test of marriage, start a business together.
That's right.
Tell our viewers out there, they may be married, they may be thinking about starting a business. What's your advice to them?
Well, if you want to test your marriage, no, I'm just joking. It was a great experience, and we would absolutely do it again. It was a lot of hard work, but he's very handy, and so we did a lot of the work ourselves. And it's something that is so precious to both of us. And you can see Tyler and you can see me, and we just introduced like a small retail shelf, and I love to get to say, hey, Tyler built that. I'm really proud of that. It's an honor to be able to say that we did it. And it's not for everybody, for sure. A lot of people pay for people to build it out. That's totally fine. But it just holds a really special place.
So regardless if our viewers are married or not, they may have a career, they're thinking about starting their own business, but there's that hesitation. What advice would you give to them?
I would say save your money, for sure. It's really expensive to start a business, but also I'm super grateful for the time that I had outside of being an entrepreneur. I think I needed to go and work at an institution to kind of learn and bring out these qualities that I've brought to the table here. And I'm just super grateful for that experience, to be able to say, like, hey, I've learned this work ethic, and I've learned how to really work hard for someone else so that I can bring this into my own business and work just as hard or even harder.
So Anna, you've done this before. You left a career, you started a business. What would you tell others? What wisdom would you give to others that are thinking about doing the same but think, no way, I can't do this?
Yeah. That we have the power to change our minds. That if you're not happy where you are, make a plan and you can do something different. And to say, hey, like, this is my dream and this is what I want and this is how I'm going to get it. And so these are the steps that we need to take. And I have to give credit to my husband, because I'm a little bit more of that risk taker, that jumper, whereas he's like, hey, we should make sure that we have the money saved up to do something like this, because I probably would have done it several years before we did. But you have the power to change your own mind, and you just have to be adaptable.
So we talked about being adaptable. You talked about change, pivoting. Let's talk about the pandemic. Back in March, you find out Soulcraft is going to have to shut down.
Yeah.
What went through your mind and what did you do?
I think immediately, of course, as an entrepreneur and somebody who is like me, as soon as you find out about a possibility of something, okay, we could be shut down. Okay, my mind immediately goes to, okay, this is happening, and what are we going to do about it? So I started implementing curbside, which was not something we did before the shutdown, trying to get people in that thought process, because bigger cities are really, that's something that's common. But for us, it's like letting people know about this back alley and saying, hey, stop in, call me if you don't feel comfortable coming in, no big deal, call our shop, we'll bring it out to you. And so just being able to kind of immediately think, okay, what can we do to pay the rent? What can we do to pay our people? What does this look like for us? And so that was kind of the immediate thought.
So clearly, a lot of change involved with the pandemic, but you mentioned earlier pivoting and changing is all about being an entrepreneur. And I think that change really has a lot to do with differentiation, which is important in business. So what are you doing to differentiate Soulcraft?
Yeah, so we're a multi-roast shop. And so right now we've got crema out of Nashville, Edison out of Texas. And we only partner with roasters that are super transparent about their green coffee. So they're working directly with the farmers. We know exactly what they're paying them. And so every step of the way, we know that this coffee is ethically sourced and these people are being treated fairly. And so that's super, super important to us. And also our sauces and syrups are made in-house, very, very special to us. Tyler and I made those recipes years and years ago, and they've just carried on to the shop. And as we've grown, we've had people come in and some of our employees that are so awesome and make more things like the flour bomb or our gingerbread syrup or our willow. Also, our pastries are made in-house, so we have Pop-Tarts and scones and muffins and cookies, things like that, and they're all made from scratch. So I think that's some of the few things that differentiate us and make us special.
Well, I also understand you sell Meg's bread in your shop too.
Oh, we do. So Meg and I are friends. Those girl bosses, we got to stick together. She's just an awesome human. Her and Luke both are just amazing people doing what they do at the quality and level that we want to do our stuff. And so I think that's why that we kind of connected so quickly, is because her quality is top notch and our quality is top notch. And so we introduced food. Our goal was to introduce it in March, but COVID. So we introduced food a couple months ago, and 2 of our sandwiches are with Meg's.
So you all are a couple of girl bosses and entrepreneurs. Do you all talk to each other? Do you learn from each other?
Especially during COVID, it's been really, really hard. She just opened up her storefront. And so, being there for her and her being here for me and trying to navigate this weird space where we don't know what to do really and how to do it. I'm so honored to know so many entrepreneurs, especially on this west side, that really care about each other. And she's one of them.
So not only do you own Soulcraft, you're also into real estate. So I've got a couple questions for you here.
Sure.
Tell us what your journey into real estate was like, and also, when do you sleep?
Well, that's a great question. When I left Enterprise, I got my real estate license, and to back up a little bit further, my mother-in-law has sold real estate for 25 years. So she is a broker, and so I got to learn and get to learn under her, and she's a fantastic teacher. She teaches actually all the agents in the area. She teaches a lot of classes and things like that, so everybody kind of knows who she is, and I feel very, very honored to be a part of that. But yeah, so I knew that we wanted to do this. We wanted to open our shop, but also what else did I want to do, and what other dreams do I have? And it was a perfect opportunity for me to go get my real estate license and do it. So I've been doing it for a little over a year now.
So really, there's a lot of common themes between real estate and entrepreneurism. Tell me more.
I think the common theme for me and Soulcraft and selling real estate is the idea that I get to love on people, that I get to help someone find their forever home, or I get to interact with them in the coffee shop. They're having a rough day or they got a stressful meeting, and I get to just give them a cup of coffee. It can be this small interaction, right? This, hey, I hope you're having a great day, or how are you, to this kind of larger transaction where we're trying to do all these different things, find someone their home or find, whatever property. Just the common theme is that you get to leave someone better than you found them. You get to help them win at whatever they're trying to do.
What I'm hearing from you is you're all about people and you're all about making connections, whether it be for real estate or with coffee. Tell us, how do you make those connections on social media, and why is that important?
You've got to be connected with your people, right? And how do we do that in a world where social media is the main channel? We do a lot of posting. We share a lot of information. We also really enjoy sharing about our people that work in our shop and sort of who they are. It kind of gives you this connection, and that's what we all want, right? We want to be connected. We may not get to have a conversation like you and I, especially because of COVID, but Kate, one of my girls that works in the shop, she's fantastic. She posted for my birthday. And so that was so special and so sweet. And that was a connection that so many people had to me, even to say, they came in the shop and they said, hey, happy birthday. And that's something that, one, I wasn't expecting, and two, gave them this kind of connection to me. And so I think that's really, really important. And also we just have a really incredible team. And I credit myself for surrounding myself with people that really are good at what they do.
Well, in talking about connections, you're making more connections through a new program called Highlands Elite. What is that?
It's a new real estate firm in town in Cookeville, Upper Cumberland area, really, because we service all 14 counties. And my mother-in-law is a principal broker, and it's kind of that same common theme of we've really surrounded ourselves in this new team with people that truly, truly care about our community, giving back and loving people. And so that's what we're really, really excited about, because at the end of the day, it's not how can we sell you a house, it's how can we help you get to where you're going, or how can we help you win at your life even. And I know that kind of sounds out there, but that's what we all want. We all want to succeed and hit these goals, and how can we help you do that?
What's the most important thing you've learned as an entrepreneur?
There are so many things, but I think one of the biggest things is time management. So going from the corporate world where you went to work at this time and got home at this time, this is a whole different animal where you could potentially work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's a really, really hard thing to do, because you want to see your business, your actual brick and mortar business succeed. And so I think sometimes, and even with real estate, we feel like we have to work all of the time because we're working for people. And that's my love. And that's, at the basis of what we're doing here is just to be able to love people. But also we have to love ourselves. And so what does that look like? And how do we feed ourselves first and say, okay, take care of you, and then I can really, really take care of other people. And so that looks like time management. It looks like, hey, smartphone's going away, it's gonna go over here, and we're gonna really just focus on, Tyler and I, time together, or, reading a book or whatever, just to try to improve, who we are as humans.
Now, did you have to learn this by yourself? Did you go out and find a resource? How do you learn time management?
No, I think it was a lot of trial and error, and I'm still learning for sure. And it's learning to say no, and it's really, really hard. Because you want to, when you have this mentality of, and a lot of entrepreneurs do, because it's just who we are, is like, yes, yes, yes. And then you figure out the details later. I have learned to maybe say, let me think about that for a minute, and let me think about the details, and then I say yes. And so that's been a new thing for me as well, because when you say yes to everything, there's nothing else to give. And I can't give anything to Tyler. I can't give anything to my family, to my pup at home. I don't have anything else to give. And that's just not any way to live either. So it's a fine balance. And it's really, really important. So that's one of the biggest things that I can say for people who are thinking about getting into it, is really, really think about time management. Maybe you have had a job that you have had to manage your time, which you'll be better than me. Because like I said, I came from a very structured background, but it's super important, and you need to be able to do that.
So you're having to learn how to balance your time. And you also mentioned Tyler runs this with you too. How do you balance your work and marriage life?
It's really difficult, but we do it, and it works really well for us. We don't have children, so that's also very helpful. But he is the yin, we're yin and yang. I'm more of the front of house. You see me a lot at the shop, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't work equally as hard, because he's working the back end of the business, the numbers, the money. He takes care of all of that, and I'm super grateful, because that's just not my area of expertise. And he does a really, really great job. He orders all of our stuff, all of our food and coffees, and make sure we have everything we need to be successful. And as far as the balancing, It's that, hey, we're going to talk about business and we're going to talk about all these things that we're doing, which are even more than we've had a chance to talk about. But we say, okay, we're going to talk about this stuff, and then we're going to talk about our dreams. We're going to talk about where we're going to go. We love to travel, so where are we going next, or what does that look like, or just like our personal life a little bit. So you kind of have to draw that line and just say, okay, we're done talking about this. Let's talk about something different. And we've gotten really, really good at it, for sure. It's taken us a while, but we've been married for a little over 6 years, and so and doing side hustles and things for most of it. So just being able to kind of cut that off.
So you got real estate, you got Soulcraft. What's in your future?
Well, we do the Airbnb here. I would love to eventually get another Airbnb, maybe. Obviously, grow these things that I've been given and blessed with. We have dreams for Soulcraft that are huge, and we see that, and they will happen. It's that idea, that positive thought idea. And real estate, growing as a real estate agent and continuing to learn and grow my business there is also really, really important. And I think you just have to look forward to different and set yourself different goals to say, okay, this is our goal here. And kind of touching on COVID and Soulcraft, we had major goals for 2020. It was going to be a great year, right? It was like all the good things were on Saturdays and, all this stuff. But that idea that you pivot and you say, okay, this was our goal, but now we have a new goal. I think that's what an entrepreneur has to do. They have to recreate, re-innovate, kind of pivot and move and be able to do things differently if it doesn't work out. And that separates entrepreneurs from each other as well, because if you can't do that, then it's going to be very difficult for you to succeed.
Anna, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael. It's been a pleasure.